I've never seen it. Have you got your llama?
Welcome to the meeting of the Community Environment Committee, which is being held here at Newton Leeds Pavilion on the 7th of April 2020. I am Marie Weimer and I will be chairing this meeting. Before we start, there are some housekeeping points to note. We are not expecting a fire drill, so if the alarm sounds, please leave as quickly as possible. The fire exits are located from the front door or through the doors in the community hall and fire assembly point. After the is at the far end of the car park. The toilets are located through the door behind assembly toilet by the front door. Please could you turn off your mobile phones or put them on silent. We want everyone to be able to hear, so please respect whoever is speaking by not chatting among yourselves. Also, you should be aware that the meeting is being recorded and the recording may be streamed on our social media channels. I will not ask the members of this council, I will now ask members of this council to introduce themselves, starting with my vice chair, which is me. So moving on.
Stop banging.
Ron Home, councillor for Claims Way and Denby North.
I know I have.
Samantha Brown, Blake's Estate.
I'm going to walk by Stratford.
Councillor, this one, say my name is Sal.
Richard Brown, Central Bletchley and Deputy Mayor.
Craig Scott, Manor North and Eastern Leeds.
And officers.
Louise Salmon, Deptford Park.
William Allen, Environment and Landscape Manager.
John Bear, Clark Town Park.
Councillors, apologies for absence, are Councillor Stevens and Fernandez. Any declarations of interest? No. Approval of minutes of the last meeting of the committee? Anyone have any issues? No. Public speaking? Got any other ways?
Do you need to approve the minutes?
If there's any comments, that's fine. If there's no comments, that's fine.
We don't have any public speaking, do we?
Nope.
No public speaking. Now to receive reports and recommendations from any subcommittees or the working group committee.
Yeah, so there's just a report within the pack from the grants panel, so that's fine.
So moving on, yeah. To review any planning applications due to be considered by Milton City Council and to come up appropriate. So it's the item number 7, land at Newton Lee South and Stoke Hammond. Anyone have any comments? I will take that silence as no. Oh, you do?
The only query that I had was where would the Section 106 money for this development
Not us.
go to? Considering it's obviously coming onto Newton Leeds as part of our parish.
It's rule control.
No, I don't think so, no.
As far as I know, if it's in Stoke Hammond, that's a different parish. The S106 money will not be coming to us.
Oh yeah, did we go over this before?
Yeah. Well, we can get a formal response for you, Ishmael. And
I think it's good to understand whether it's been used on that local development.
Yeah.
Because then that would, in essence, benefit some of the residents around it, or whether it's going back to being spent elsewhere.
Yeah, I think we did say that last time, didn't we? Okay, number 8, item 8, to receive a management information report on environmental matters. Will to present.
Okay. So you will see the report within your pack. If we go through some of the items in there, so initially allotment statistics. We've now got 39 new tenants on the waiting list, so that's somewhat bolstered since last time. We've got occupancy at 98%. We've only got 3 vacant plots at the moment and working to issue them to people on the waiting list. Landscape wise, the winter work is now all but done. There is one roundabout that we're waiting for some traffic management in order to get on to complete. But other than that, all of the hedge and shrub work is now complete. The the team have done lots of crown lifting work. That's removal of the lower branches of trees over this winter to enable unobstructed mowing. And we started the mowing cycle. So we're mowing again. We started on the 3rd of March and now well into the second cut. We've had a number of repairs required already on the mowers. And one of those has had to go back to Brown's, our provider for repair. Thankfully, they've been able to supply us with a replacement machine that keeps the 3 mowers out cutting. We've had some van issues in the landscape team. So the smaller of our 3 vehicles, which is a Vauxhall combo van, that's used for the backup round, so for hand mowing, strimming, spraying, and all the ad hoc sort of work we do. That's the vehicle used for the team to get around to do those works. But we've had all sorts of problems with this van, and it's currently at Vauxhall's for repair. The council have spent lots of money on diagnostics and don't seem to be able to make it so that it works for any great length of time. So we are looking at the possibility of replacing that vehicle in the not too distant future once it is back from repair, and that will be discussed at the finance meeting to get approval for expenditure, because it's become something of a liability really. We've had some works that we've used contractors to deliver. So we've had a tree surgeon to reduce the large pear tree within our large grove allotments, and also we're using that same contractor to rotivate the wildflower areas in Leon Rec ahead of seeding. The GPS tracking devices and cameras have been installed onto the mowers and vans that we use. That is for a number of reasons, to protect the health and safety and welfare of our employees, to safeguard the council assets, ensure deployment of effective deployment of resources, and also to support performance management and service delivery. And they're sort of working really well now. It's great to be able to see, in a heartbeat, where the team are and what area they're working in and how well they're going. We went out to tender recently for a new dog bin collection contract, and following that tendering process, a company called the Shield Group have been awarded the contract for the, I think it's 67 dog bins we've got across the parish. That new contract will start on the 27th of April. It may take a number of weeks to get the second empties synchronised by Shield, but they're ready to react quickly to sort of deliver the best service possible. And that's that report. Any questions?
I've got 2, probably 3. Regards to the team that you've got under yourselves, other than the report that you've given, is there any sort of like feedback from the workers themselves about any issues hampering them in the parish? Anything that's hampering the actual work or schedule? Anything different to what you just said? That any feedback that they're coming back to you and saying this is happening or that's happening, that's stopping us from doing our work? So anything like that?
Not really. No. I mean, we have a team meeting once every 5th week, and I have one-to-ones with the staff. So we talk over the specific job issues
Yeah.
on a regular basis, but nothing.
What's the general consensus from the staff? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they
Yeah,
they're moaning or they're complaining? Or, you know, what's the health of the team?
I think that generally decent. I mean, when we have things like mower issues and van issues, you know, it makes things slightly more difficult. And there was a period where we had the small van out of action. Basically, we didn't have enough seats for the bums that we needed to put on them. But now that we're out mowing again, the pressure's off to some degree in that regard, because you've got, you know, up to 3 of them out mowing. So you don't need so many spaces in the vehicle.
Second question, regards to the dog bins and the new contract that's been given out, is that scalable in respect of the contract and the 27 bins? Is that scalable in respect of what they're charging us? In respect of future planning of dog bins being deployed in the area and the upscale of dog bins, say, for instance, into Evenleys or any other parts of the parish that may need dog bins collections?
Yes, it is.
Is it scalable at the price that we're giving us now? So if we introduced another 10 dog bins in the area, would that price still stay the same, or would that be something that would be a different price?
It's a set price per bin, so regardless, we can add bins to it.
Yeah.
They're quite a large firm operating across a lot of the parishes in Milton Keynes now. Yes, it's scalable. We're starting, traditionally we've had second empties on a number of bins, but there's always been some question marks over whether all of those bins actually needed the second empty. So they're going to be giving us a monthly report on the volume, the fullness of the bins, so that we can react to that. And yes, it's all scalable. They can increase the number of collections and the number of bins as we need to.
And the last question is regarding the small van.
Yeah.
How long has it been out of action, and why wouldn't it run out? If it's causing a load of problems and diagnostic problems and stuff like that, why haven't we got rid of it? Because we're spending.
Well, it's come back to us after repair, you know, and you think, right, problem solved, and then now we've come to a situation where it's needed to go in again, effectively for the same thing that it went in the previous time. So they're doing further diagnosis, which originally they wanted to charge us more money for, but you know, it was negotiated that they do that for free.
Yeah.
And the plan really is for, once we've got it back repaired, to trade it in and look to replace it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'm getting pretty good feedback about the quality of work that we're doing from all over the parish. I don't know if it's come down to you at all from residents, but I'm getting a lot of good feedback from all over the parish. They're quite impressed.
Good to hear.
To note, so moving on, sorry, item 10, to note confirmation of the Community Infrastructure Fund and consider options for equipment to install. Oh, I missed one out. Oh, that's so excited to get on to number 10. Sorry. To receive a briefing note from MKC on rationale for returning Fenny's 30-minute parking limits on Queensway. I think that, Louise, are you doing
Yeah,
that one?
that's me. So, I mean, I'm sure you've all read it. So this is just the Queensway parking tariffs and the rationale for the 30-minute limit. If anyone has any feedback or comments for.
Yeah, because the post office is now moving into the Agora, I spoke to Darryl and Sam way back in before Christmas, and I said 30 minutes is too short now, because with the queues that are going to be in there, you won't get served within 30 minutes. And there's 1 or 2 other shops that don't believe 30 minutes is long enough for them to have their customers in and out. And I did speak to Darryl and Sam about it, but I believe it should be increased to an hour.
Okay. Anything else on the Queensway? Yeah.
So, it says Queensway parking tariffs, but obviously I understand the 30-minute limit, but is there options to extend that with tariffs, or is that just 30 minutes and then no return within an hour or 2 hours or something like that?
That's what it looks like. There isn't any talk about any charges to extend in this, and I think what is it at the moment? It's free parking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Outside, so, yeah.
So are they saying that Queensway is going to be like, it's not pay and display, is it? Or so they can park for 30 minutes and then come back. But my thing is, who's going to be watching that? Are we going to have a dedicated team of enforcement agents? Who's going to actually oversee that sort of park for 30 minutes and time it and actually enforce it? That's my problem.
So I think number 4 says enforcement capacity and improvements. I don't think it touches on it there. Parking enforcement is already, and they just gone to what we've already got basically. So I imagine it's pretty much keeping the 3 enforcement officers that patrol the street already. We can ask further clarification on that, maybe Louise, but I think that's pretty much nothing new's coming in to what we've already got in terms of that. Yeah.
Maybe say more so.
Okay, item 10, consider funding from the community infrastructure on equipment, options for equipment to be installed. Will to present.
Okay. So you'll see the report in the pack. So in August last year, we submitted an application to MK City Council's Community Infrastructure Fund towards the installation of toddler-focused play equipment here at Newton Lees, adjacent to the football pitches. The application was for £12,500 towards a total project cost of £25,000. At the recent Milton Keynes City Council delegated decisions meeting, that funding was approved. So we've got the money towards this play equipment, and the application was for the installation of low-level balance equipment, interactive playboard panels, specifically designed for early years development and toddler engagement. So the equipment is going to be low risk with critical fall heights less than 600 mil, so less than 60 centimetres, incorporating balance-based apparatus suitable for developing motor skills in young children, and interactive play panels and musical items to encourage sensory play and cognitive development. This will be installed directly onto grass with some rubber grass mesh in high wear areas. We need to think about the location that we're going to have this. So now that the housing development work has started to the west, it sort of shows how little area there is for installation of this along the left-hand side of the Redway as you walk along it. There is, however, a significant amount of space further down to the right-hand side of the Redway. So you'll see in the pack, there's a little map there. There are 2 areas that can be used, essentially, the 2 yellow areas. The left-hand triangular yellow area is not large enough for all of the equipment. The larger sort of oblong shaped yellow section is big enough for all of the equipment. So we could have all of the equipment in that section further along the Redway, or we could split it and have half in the left-hand side and half in the right-hand side.
Just quick question: how does this conflict with a comment with the agreement with the football pitches that they can't be used or we can't use them? Are we not encouraging people to be on those pitches?
This isn't, well, it's not on the pitches, so we hire out the pitch, specifically the pitches that are marked.
But we're going to be putting play equipment next to the pitches, right? Which is naturally going to encourage the older children that are sitting with the toddlers to play on the pitches, is that in direct conflict with our agreement?
It's more for the toddlers while the older children are playing football.
Okay.
So it's, you know, it should serve as something for us to do while they're there with their family watching their children play football.
My thing is that the rectangle, is that too close to the pitch? I'm just thinking about if someone's playing football, is there enough room to put the equipment in, and is there enough room to stand, watch football and play football without impeding on the play equipment?
There's ample room.
It's bigger than it looks on the diagram.
It's much bigger than it.
Yeah, just
Even.
Yeah.
I was going to say, would there not be an opportunity to put some just outside this terrace as well?
I mean, part of the application was, it was very heavy on it being along the side of the Redway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so there's no other reason why it can't go there?
It's also used as a sort of informal kick around area out the back here, as you probably noticed, and for football training.
The only reason why, because Louisa's mentioned something about draining, but training, not draining. Because I'm only thinking, because if the nurse, it would have been good for the nursery as well, because if the nursery use this room, don't they? And it would have just been outside the gate, and that would have been available to them use as well, wouldn't it?
But they can take them out.
Quite often they go out anyway, don't they?
Yeah, I know, that is quite a big gap there as well.
Yeah.
I
I think that this is excellent. I'm really pleased that the town council, this will be the first play provision we have done, and I think it's something that as a town council we should be doing. So yeah.
Ishmael?
What about the top side? See where the red room ends? Yeah, right at the end.
It sort of banks away, yeah, so it does slope
Oh,
off
yeah, you
there.
can kind of see it, does, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not level basically.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you need agreement on?
Well,
The
just
equipment
a
itself
decision.
for
But
the
initially on location.
location
So
first?
that's one element.
Or
You can decide on that now, or I can carry on with the other.
Is this like this contract? We're going to provide they're installing. If it needs planning, they're doing planning. It's all in one.
All in one, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. That was my only question.
Oh, you're very welcome. So we need a decision.
Yeah, I
Is
think it's
required.
another question.
Oh, sorry.
So I'm just going to jump forward onto the quote. So from the sounds of it, provisions of disposal of waste is something we'd have to provide. So we cut the 12-yard skips or something like that, basically. So
Yeah.
we'd obviously need to allow for that. And also welfare facilities, are we going to allow them to use?
We would do. I mean, the quotes that are included, they were sort of taken up just as indicative quotes until we knew that we'd definitely got the funding. We'll go out to more than the two that you've got in your pack here, and we can, you know, we'll put together a thorough specification that makes it clear what arrangements there are for the likes of that. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so we need to make decision recommendations. It's required on the following location of play equipment, which we've just said. Materials to be used. Wait. Preference for share of equipment type, any preference for quantity type of play panels, and any preferred suggestions to inform the specification of equipment before seeking final quotes from those already quoted, and additional quotes from others. What you just said. Ethan.
Final point. I also believe that the 2 parcels of land that are currently being developed at the moment came with 225,000 of section 106 towards play areas across Newton Lees. So I'm just wondering if there is more room, can we have a conversation with the section 106 officer to see if we can get any more money to put more items there. You know, I know that we're willing to commit our bit, but it might be that we could do something that's amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So do you want to make decisions now or defer it?
Oh, do you want me to talk on some of the other points about the equipment and the materials used and? Yeah.
So you say what you need answers on first.
I'll go through it all and
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
and then we'll get some decisions at the end, shall we, if we can?
Well, I'll do it as we go, otherwise you're going to go.
So equipment wise, you've seen the two quotations in the pack. We're obliged to provide apparatus suitable for younger children. But there's now the option to explore sort of the makeup, look and the materials that are used. So materials wise, a lot of the play equipment, you know, there are options in metal, in wood. Wood tends to be the cheapest option, whilst being very sturdy, looking more natural, and nowadays comes with 20-year guarantee on the wood against rot and the like. So there's an option there. Metal, wood, composite. What would you like to see? That's one decision that you might want to make today.
So with that, I mean, trying to make a decision on that, what is the recommendation for play equipment in our area? What is it that we've got in our area already that's already proven to be, what is the standard stuff that we
You've
use?
got both, Richard,
Yeah,
you've
I've got both.
honestly.
Yeah, you look at a lot of the new stuff that's been put in on the.
Yeah, and new ones all
it's wooden, yeah.
Would people say that's necessarily the best?
But this is where we need the feedback. I mean, you know, if we've got both sets, you know, it can be easy just to say, oh, let's just have wood.
So my son's primary school had all of the wooden equipment, and it was kind of, it went round their kind of field. It was amazing. My only concern about using it here is we removed all the benches off the Redway and replaced them with the granite blocks from Station Square because of the thing. So my personal preference would be for wood, you know, because I just think it looks, it's in a natural nature, it's next to a nature reserve. But my concern is that I think that there's been a lot of people setting fire to things on the Redway and a lot of vandalism. Do we need to kind of have something that is more protected?
I mean, having done a little bit of research, the wood that they use is a Robinia, which is a very dense wood. It's highly resistant to fire, and it burns incredibly slowly. It'll only catch fire. It'll only burn if they were to start a fire at the base of it that carried on for a long period of time. You know.
I feel very easy about that.
Yeah. You know, on the Blue Lagoon, obviously they've had fires, but that's sort of quite out of the eye of the average person. Whereas, you know, you've got natural surveillance here with the car park really close. I think sort of people would spot a fire, you would hope. More so. Yeah.
I would probably propose that we go for the wood then.
I'd second that.
Okay, there you go.
What do you think?
We need a vote, yeah. So all for Ethan.
Can I just amend the proposal or make a proposal that, which is to add my bit on, that we investigate the section 106 position and see if we can actually increase the budget. So the wood items, but let's do as much as we can. Because I do think most of the other play sites in Newton Lees are woeful.
Okay, all in favour? Any time today, people. All against? Okay. Maybe not for. Okay, that was that one, yeah? See you next. Preference, Cheryl?
So then you've got play panels and you've got musical items.
I think they look quite cool.
There's a page of play panels there that might be useful if council gave a bit of a steer on the sort of thing that you might like to see. We did get some feedback that educational play panels don't really have a lot of play. What was the word in? They're not played with for a long time, effectively. But you do get things like role play, things like, you know, vehicles, shop fronts, things like that you know, may have a bit more play value.
I mean, my son loves the kind of more interactive noise mix. I think there is a need to have some education, like the sign language ones, I think is
Amazing.
inclusive, and I think it's brilliant. Is there an option here though of almost getting whoever we quote for to come back with us with some suggestions? Because I don't think we're experts here in making up what play equipment looks like. So can we ask for some options of course we can, going for?
I think that whatever we do, when we incorporate in it, it looks nice if we can have it where it's disabled friendly as well.
Mhm.
So that whatever panels we're putting in, that the right height for disabled children in wheelchairs or chairs to be able to interact with it from their wheelchair. That's something that I think that we should incorporate, whichever design we go for, whichever plate equipment we go for.
I mean, I personally would recommend that once we've decided on which company we're going to go for, to then come back to a working group to then pick the little ones, the colourful ones, yeah. It's different.
So you're suggesting setting up a working group?
No, just for picking the different little, I mean, that won't take long, will it? Because there's loads of different types. It depends what company you go for. Each company's different, hasn't they? They've got different things. So whatever company you decide, we ain't going to know from this which company you're going to pick to then decide which ones we want.
Okay.
Prefer.
We can do
Just
that.
for options for that.
You mean like a one session workshop?
Yeah, just like a one session workshop. Yeah, sorry, not you do know what I mean.
Yeah.
Can come back to the committee, doesn't it? Because
Similar to the one we did with the lights, like Christmas lights, we said go
Yeah,
and
but
come back with some
sometimes they
options.
have like the thing where they need to know within a specific time, don't they? So that's why I say that.
Did you have a question?
No. Was there any other?
I mean, I was going to say, so there's a picture there which is one of the quotes basically, and you know, essentially, I would suggest, or officers would suggest that's close to being the sort of thing that we probably want to go with. Just to get an idea if you felt the same, really.
I agree. Part of it is if we can get any additional 106 money, we could definitely be bolstering. Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to divert not making decisions on that yet because Okay, so is that done?
So
Okay, I think I've probably got enough. Yeah. So wood. The location will be dependent whether we can pick up further funding. I mean, potentially if we could get some S106, we could use this area because the funding that we've got is dependent on it being along the Redway, but then it wouldn't be. So it could be done as a.
I also think it might be nice to have a bit here that the nursery could use.
Yeah.
And then, you know, to have stuff going on down the Redway as well. Because I think that's really.
Okay. To receive service update report with, am I on the right one now? To receive an update on summer youth activities, Louise too.
So this is me for a little while now. So this report is based on some of the minutes that I've read from previous meetings over the last year around the youth engagement that you are currently offering. So start off with a review of the current services, which is the youth club, the play association and 5 on it. Obviously the youth club is weekly and the other 2 are school holiday programmes. When looking at this and analysing it, there's some gaps and challenges. So For example, girls aged 8 to 11 are underrepresented. Older young people, 13 plus, are hard to engage, but also don't engage with these particular activities. And most activities are focused on sport, and young people, sort of there's a lean towards mental health and wellbeing support as well, sometimes being offered for, sort of within a town council. So what could improve? More activities for girls or older young people, more support for wellbeing or mental health, better partnerships, schools with better partnership working with schools or police, youth workers, or focus on early support and prevent future problems. So that was just a bit of an overview. And then I've moved in to talk about this summer, because that's what we can talk about now. And this report does kind of link with the next report. So I've spoken to a few different organisations. Return MK is a local charity that I think I've actually worked with the town council before, DJing at one of the events. So they're a charity that support young people who struggle to join mainstream activities, but they have also said that they would run some sessions in the school holidays that are music orientated, so DJing or writing song lyrics, so that potentially could engage a different demographic of young people. Since this report, Fearless Fit have not come back to me, but I've got a few other options that I'll come back to. Dance Code is street dance sessions that potentially could engage younger girls, although it would be open to all young people. Let's Kick It are a sports organisation similar to Five on It. They are a more competitive cost and don't have the additional cost of venue hire. And then also the Port Parks Trust is running a session on the 12th of August in Waterhall Park. So we will attend that and see how that goes. And if we think that it's successful, then that's something that potentially we could partner with as well. I've also, not on this report, because since I wrote this report, spoken to Liquid Art, who run art sessions. There's also been a boxing club who have spoken to us about wanting to do something with young people. And also have a meeting set up with Youth Mindset, who mentor young people. So lots of different options that we can have a think about. The budget was increased for play sessions for this financial year. So there is an additional 6,450. So if you look at the budget section, there's some indicative costs there of how much things will cost. So we can still continue with the MK Play Association if councils are happy for that to continue. Five on It is who we currently use, and Let's Kick It are a potential new session. They also do multi-sport sessions, so it's not just football. And then obviously Return MK with the music production. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was funding opportunities. So I've done a little bit of research on potential additional funding opportunities. As Bletchley East is one of the most deprived areas in the country for child poverty, I think that there is potential that we would be able to access some additional funding. That might not be for this summer, but maybe projects beyond. And this is sort of a two-tone report where we're talking about youth engagement in general, but then also what we want to do for this summer. And then future projects, so listening to young people, which this kind of ties into my next report, and the activities that will help the council better plan services. So officers suggest trying these new activities for summer 2026. At the same time, young people could help shape future plans, including setting up the youth forum or the youth council, which we'll talk about in a little while. And yeah, that's it really. Should we go to the recommendations? Or sorry, do you want any questions? Sorry, that part would be better.
No questions really, but I think I've made points before about that I don't think that what we offer is what kids want. And actually I'm really pleased to see some things here, which I think will be really exciting. And I'm sure that some of the things that are being mentioned about how sport can keep people out of trouble, how, we can engage with them, or groups have got experience of working with maybe marginalised kind of groups or people who aren't in accessing kind of education kind of that well. I think that we know that it's here, and I think that's really good. I do think that we've got to be really mindful that it can't all be football. So I think it would be good to do some other stuff.
Anybody else? So is there any other activities that we can possibly look at, or any other groups that we could possibly look at? Some running groups for kids.
Yeah.
Not just running groups.
I think there's a platform being set up, isn't there?
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
saying in general,
Yeah.
to find a group so that
Yeah.
kids can be involved from a very early age, because you just never know, and that goes across all boundaries. What about fishing?
Yeah.
Fishing clubs. Getting them in early and training them up. So running and fishing is something different. Women and
Yeah.
guys can do that sport, if you know what I mean. But,
We can look into that.
just a couple of ideas. Just something completely different. Thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So it's football.
So your recommendation?
Yes, so number one, do you want me to, yeah. To note the current use provision and identified gaps, which done. So to approve the delivery of a pilot of summer programmes. So obviously Fearless Fit isn't in this. We can still, it's difficult, we can still explore other options, but are we happy with this theme in general and for officers to put something together? Get a vote on that.
Okay, I'm not so much. So I'm a bit against.
Okay.
So I think for me, I'm happy with you to engage with Sir Herbert Lee to see how it goes, but I'm dubious to if people will, for me, it needs to be a tester, not a, yes, this is what we're going to do, because you don't know how this will go until you engage with them and see what happens.
So, I agree with what you're saying. There is £18,000 in the budget to put a summer programme, to put, school holiday together, like activities together. You want us to explore, like, book any of these?
I think if you open up to the field, I think we're putting on some new activities and new events. We're always going to be in a position where we don't know how it's all going to work out. What we want is to put it on and test the water and then get feedback how successful these programs are going to be. And then we can decide whether we're going to continue it next year and the following years, or we're going to improve on it.
That is correct, but from previous, like last year, we spent 5,605 on it, and personally don't think 6 weeks at 12 hours was good value for money. So I don't want to be rushing in saying, yeah, let's do this, when we don't know the amounts and stuff like that. There's no figures.
I think I agree with the 5-1. I think the Let's Kick It sessions were more better value for money,
100%
because you get
value
more hours. But what I've also, the other groups here do a lot with town councils already, so I know they're in the area and they're well attended. So there's in other areas, so I'm not saying it's going to work for our area. We can look into that, but I know they are kind of well attended in different parishes.
So I think what's the word you use? Proposal, that's the one, is to look into the ones that you're suggesting with prices.
So the prices are on the table.
Yeah.
So MK Play Association.
Page 60.
Yeah, you can't see it.
There you go. There.
So MK Play Association is similar.
No, so that's what I mean. So is that's what you put in for now? I thought that was last year.
That's the cost that they've given us for programmes. So the MK Play Association are based on the costs we've spent last year. 5 on it, same. Let's Kick It is a new cost and a quote that they've given us based on
Oh,
60 young people per week. But their sessions are bigger. They run for sort of 6 hours. And then the other one.
okay, then I'll rephrase. I'm against the 5 on it one.
Yeah.
That's all. So I'm happy with the rest because that's so many more sessions and so many more hours. But 5 on it is like a big sum for the amount of, and where you can explore the other stuff that you've mentioned with that price. So that would be my take.
So and still MK Play Association. So Let's Kick It instead of 5 on it. MK Play Association, and then there's probably funding to explore a couple of the other options as well. Yeah. Okay.
Ishmael.
Could we possibly run like a survey or a questionnaire amongst people within those age brackets, like at schools or youth clubs or scouts?
We did one last year. I think I shared the data at a previous meeting. I can get that data back out for you to share around again. It kind of gave you, it's like, what do people want in the area type thing. So we can share that again.
Does it align?
We can do an update. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I've shared it with Clark recently. Not saying it might be worth doing a new one again soon as well. This was kind of last summer, but yeah, it's good. Good question.
Yeah, because Let's Kick It, they can do the basketball, the football, all the kinds of sports for the same price. Well, for like half the price practically for just the basketball session. So is everyone okay with that proposal?
It's your proposal.
Thanks.
Do you
Would
second it?
anyone want to second me?
I'll second you.
Thanks. All in favour? I'll soon be a pro. Anyone against? No, everyone's all for it.
Very quickly make it.
Exactly. Next. It was you again, Louise.
Yes. Okay. Youth Council support report. So this kind of links with the other because it's still youth engagement, but it's and also kind of answers your question, Ishmael, around engagement with young people about what they want. So officers have been exploring better ways to engage with young people in the parish. So there are 2 potential options when it comes to engaging with young people in a more official setting. We can look to create a youth council or a youth forum. Both models aim to give young people a voice and to be influential in local decisions. They differ in formality and structure. So officers have met with teachers at Sir Herbert Leon who are comfortable and happy to engage with the project initially. Appreciate that not all young people in the parish do go to Sir Herbert Leon, but it's probably a good place to start because there are a lot of young people there. And they have requested that we create a presentation to sort of give them information on what exactly they might be potentially signing up to if they did want to join a youth council or a youth forum. I've created a table which just has the sort of key differences between the 2. A youth council is a lot more formal with elected members and set roles. A youth forum is more of an informal meeting where people can share discussions and talk about different topics. Obviously, a youth council will be set up similar to this. There will be an agenda and more structured. But it would probably directly link more to council discussions. And the other thing to think about is the fact that the youth forum could develop into a youth council in the future. Both are obviously valid. I think it's sort of your decision. I think you want to go down.
So I've been for some time talking about this youth council, and for some time I've said that as a parish we're getting bigger. There's different areas now, there's different requirements for the youth from all sectors of the parish, all numbers of people that are in this parish now, and we haven't had proper engagement, what I call a deep dive into the youth. And you know, we do what we do as a council, we supply the services that we do, but we don't hear directly from the kids. And that's something that I've always wanted to have is a youth council, youth forum that's aligned with the town council, so we've got direct engagement. So that's something that I will definitely support. Want to be part of that team that engages and sets the parameters. Yeah.
So, oh, great.
That's good. I'm in favour of starting it as a forum. I think starting it to official can seem a bit not accessible. I think it can develop into a youth council, but you won't get engagement if you start talking about elections. People aren't going to do it.
So,
Just a quick one. There is a youth council in Central Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes, and this is what I keep saying about our council, we're one of the biggest council areas in the whole of Milton Keynes. And we always feel, I always feel like we're coming from the back foot, that we're just starting off, that we don't know what we're doing, that we don't know what we're talking about. At the end of the day, Milton Keynes has got a youth council. There's direct engagement with the youth up in Milton Keynes. The youth up in Milton Keynes are no different to the youth down here in Bletchley. We need to be able to be bold in our approach to thinking about the future of Bletchley and the children and the legacy that we're going to leave behind. I get what you're saying, but I don't want to take it away from the kids that they're not smart enough to sit on a youth council. What we want is direct engagement with the kids and a definite platform for them to voice their opinions, and we, the older ones, need to listen. So that's just my take on it. But we have definitely got the means and the capabilities to do this. This is for the kids, and we don't want to take it. We don't want to undermine their intelligence either. I feel that if you put it out there, the kids will all get involved because you're giving them a platform to actually voice their opinions, and we need to listen. Youth forum, youth council, whichever way we go, we need to do this now.
okay, so we've got two proposals. I second the youth forum. Anyone want to second Richard with the youth council?
I'll second the youth
So
council.
the recommendation,
Go for a vote.
do you want to do the recommendation?
Yeah.
So the first one is to approve initial engagement with Sir Herbert Leon to introduce town council youth engagement initiative.
And then
Have a steering group that would then, the young people would
Yeah.
explore both the council and the forum.
Okay, so first of all, we're all voting for approve it, aren't we? So yeah.
Sorry, just quickly,
Oh.
quick question. So, fully for both the forum and the council. I mean, for the budget, have we done like a rough sort of cost plan in terms of insurances or any additional training or certification our guys need, DVS checks and things like that? Or?
If you give a certain
No, we would have to look into that. I think we're sort of maybe a few steps ahead at the moment. I think maybe the initial part would be to speak to the school, see if there's even any young people who want to even remotely engage. I'm sure there is. And then maybe a youth-led approach so that the young people can decide if they want a council or a forum, and then from there maybe officers can come back and give an update, and then we can look at that sort of stuff a bit further down the line.
I've engaged with, I've spoken to some of the youth council members from Milton Keynes and people that run it as well. I've spoken to them and I've shared that we may be doing the same thing down here. I'm sure if you engage with them, then you can get the constitutions already set up already.
Yeah,
We can paste and copy, not saying we paste and copy, but the idea is already set up already. The full structure is there, and I don't see we need to rewrite the book, but learn from what they've got from Central Milton Keynes and see the situations and then go from there. So,
Okay, so we need to approve the initial agreement with Sir Herbert Leon School. So all in favour for officers to engage with Sir Herbert Leon Academy on the youth engagement to start off with. Anyone against? No, that's all. And then this is the youth business. Which one we prefer? Right. So.
Oh no, it's to agree that the steering group will make that decision, so that it will be the young people making that decision.
What if it's going to be a youth
Yeah.
council or a youth forum? Oh, okay. That's probably better, isn't it? So all in favour of, if it gets set up and it goes ahead, we are jumping the gun a bit, that they decide whether it be a youth council or a youth forum.
Who's gonna agree that? The kids themselves?
And then we'll bring it back here and then.
Or you just get a recommendation from the kids which one they want.
So it's just to support a youth, it's fine, to support a youth-led approach enabling participating young people to determine the most, it's the same as, we're fine.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Thank you. To receive a report on community events and consider any recommendations therein.
So I just want to go back a little bit to number 2, to agree. So the steering group is going to be led by the kids themselves. Or is that
So officers will talk to Sir Herbert Leon
Yeah.
and then find out how many young people want to engage with the project. And then from there, we can create a steering group. From there, they can talk about the council or the forum and what they want to do. Then they can bring it all back here, and then councillors can be involved in the project from that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
To you, Louise.
Okay, community events. Bear with me because I didn't write this report, but so I will jump straight to the big street eat if that's okay.
what item is this? Item
12.
12. So as members are aware, the regeneration works on Queensway have affected the planning process of the Big Street Eat. Although the works are scheduled for completion by the end of July, officers have not received firm confirmation. So as a result, the planning and the booking of acts has been a little delayed. Officers are currently proposing the use of Queensway from Elizabeth Square until just before Knowles School, so sort of pushed down the road. Obviously, while previous discussions considered Aylesbury Street or Leon Recreation Park, this section of Queensway offers us greater flexibility in terms of should more of the work be completed, we can move up or down depending on how it goes. We've also been in discussions with Milton Keynes Council regarding potential additional funding. We are yet to have a decision whether that's been received, but there's a proposal that's been attached to this report with a view to support additional entertainment for the Big Street Eat. Fenny Stratford, a review is underway of the businesses for Fenny Stratford to shape the event for financial year 27-28. Residents will also be engaged and provide feedback to shape the event that is enjoyable and meaningful to the community. The committee recommended in December that this event be properly researched and for delivery in 27-28. Moving ahead to 2027 dates. So one of the recommendations is to approve these 2 dates, one of which the Lunar New Year on the 23rd of January, which is the 23rd of January, and the community iftar on the 19th of February, which is in half term. And then there is a map that's also been attached about proposed locations. This one actually goes beyond Elizabeth Square, so actually this is dependent on if that, I don't know what phase they call that, but the phase that's done up between Brooklands and Elizabeth Square. So we can move up and down based on that. Yeah, any questions?
So do you need says to approve the location?
Yeah.
Did we already do that?
I think you spoke about it at the
Oh,
yeah,
didn't you?
that's
But,
good.
yeah.
Okay, so in the working group, we a recommendation was to move the location, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Of the Big Street up further past Elizabeth Square, yeah. Are we all in favour? Yeah.
So is that going to be from Elizabeth Square downwards?
Yeah, well, it depends on, because
Depending on if it's finished or
We're not sure if that
not.
other section will be done. It could be up until Brooklands if that the work is complete, but at the moment we don't know.
But I thought that we wasn't going to take a risk of the work going to be done, and we said it was going to do, whether the work was getting done or not, we couldn't anticipate that we was going to go from Elizabeth Square.
That would give you less space. So I think if they were just going to wait till near the time.
What you can't do, Richard, you know, from Elizabeth Square all the way up Queensway past an old school, they can't do road closures all the way up there, that's the problem. So you
There's
go up,
residential, yeah.
up to the school, they actually can't close roads, you know.
No, the only road that, what, they can't close the side roads is what you're talking about.
Yeah, so there's an issue clear with closing the roads. We can only go so far on that side of Queensway, past Elizabeth Square.
Yeah.
So what their suggestion is,
Council's no school.
yeah, so where Elizabeth Square, going both sides of Elizabeth Square, basically, having that stretch.
Post office.
Yeah, because we know I've got
That's if the work's done.
yeah, so I've got a meeting with Highways on Thursday to discuss this with Graham Cox.
And if
They're going
it's
to
not-
talk about this.
But if it's not going to be done,
Well, that's what we're looking
if it's not
for.
going to
Yeah.
be done, what's the contingency plan?
Well, those phases should be done. We're getting guarantees for all those phases to be done. It's phase 3,
Which is the top end.
which is the top end, which is, yeah.
Phase 3 is Albert Street.
No, I know.
Okay, well, we've already approved the location now.
Just
So going on to the dates for Lunar New Year and Community Iftar. Everyone,
Just making sure that we've got contingency plans in place.
are we okay for the dates for Lunar New Year and Community Iftar? I'll say yeah.
Oh, it's
As
a
we
trial
see
one.
grants,
Okay, 2 seconds. I've got to find it. Okay, it's me. I think I've got it. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay. So this is following on obviously from the grants panel on the 19th of March, outlining all the applications that were discussed at the panel. So the Irish Centre was not suitable because it is a limited company. Fearless Fit, we have requested more information from them as asked for at the grants panel. And obviously one luncheon club is also a no. Carnival Arts request for £1,370. So it was recommended that the grant cover the cost of the workshop of 725 and that the presence on the day would come from the Big Street Eat budget, and that's 645. Canal Festival, it was recommended that this application be granted and that a consideration for future funding be planned in. Milton Keynes Pride, so it wasn't included in the pack, but I've put on the table the colourful A4 sheets. And it was recommended that the level of sponsorship granted should be 5k based on the available sponsorship tiers, see the pack, and this amount to be taken from general reserves. And it was also recommended that a consideration of future funding be planned in. And then Milton Keynes Canals partnership request. So the other thing that's on the table is find it. I've got notes on this one. Is an example of the previous 3-year partnership that Milton Keynes Canals had with the town council. I think it was requested at the grants panel. Oh no, this is the there's previous and then there's the current proposals with some funding in there. There is still £2,130 remaining in an unspent earmark reserve, which was allocated for Milton Keynes Canal. So potentially that first project of Make an Entrance that's in that sheet, which is £2,000, could be funded through the earmark reserve. And then so that's something I suppose that can be considered once it is agreed an amount, what the amount is being spent on. It was recommended that the budget for this year has been set, and we contact Milton Keynes Canals to see what support we can provide this year. Officers have a meeting planned in with them for, I think it's the end of April, and that conversation could take place about the project and the associated costs. recommendations to consider the recommendations made by the grants panel.
Yeah, so pretty much most of us was there, not all of us. So it's just if anyone else that wasn't on that meeting has any questions. So the only one we're not going to decide on is the MK Canals Partnership until you've had that meeting, yeah? So all the rest, is there any other question, any other challenges on any of them? Either.
No, I propose to accept the recommendations.
All in favour? Next. To receive a report on the vet support.
Okay. So in August 2025, officers and councillors held an event review meeting to discuss the Bletchley Big Street E. The purpose of this meeting was to reflect on the success of the event, identify key learnings and inform the event evaluation support. There was many positive aspects, trade liaison, marketing, site clearance, areas of strong performance. However, the report identified opportunities for improvement, particularly in relation to health and safety documentation and operational processes. Following further discussions, officers have engaged with an external contractor for health and safety support, which could be beneficial to the team. This would help ensure best practices followed, provide additional assurance around management processes and support not only the Bletchley Big Street but other town council events, should you wish to, which are delivered throughout the year. The town council has inquired with a local events manager who has experience working with councils on community events. Officers gave a brief providing pre-event support, including reviewing official paperwork, licensing, SAG, applications, road closures, monitoring pre-event paperwork from traders and supporting officers with missing paperwork, an audit of current processes and CRM for events, mapping, event plan and scheduling, on-the-day events management support for 12 hours and post-event report. This is the proposal that has been sent forward. So 2 days for 4 months before the event, 1 day for 3 months before the event, 1 day for 2 months before the event, and then on the day and post-event report. Total of 6 pre-production days and 1 on-site day. I think at a total cost of 2,200 plus VAT. It's worth noting that this proposal can be reviewed at any time and is on the basis that maximum support is required. Officers will be periodically evaluating the need for support, therefore the total cost is subject to change. It is anticipated that following the support provided at the Big Street E, officers will be able to review the future need for this service. So this review may identify opportunities to reduce the number of pre-event support days, or to focus on just the event day operational support for future events, should that be needed. Should members wish to proceed, a report reviewing the services provided and their effectiveness will be presented at the committee in August 2026. Oh, well, it's yeah, I can stop.
I don't know who was first out of you two, so Ismail.
Just to cover, this will be per event, essentially.
This would be per event if we needed it per event.
Yeah, too much.
And I'm understanding this, the size of the event, it could change.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's not
this is based on the Big Street, which is the biggest event.
Right.
And obviously the nearest event in time.
Yes, less attended events would cost a lot less because they won't need 6 pre-production days.
We
Yeah.
did Christmas and it was a lot less. Yeah, it's different price quite because it's a smaller event.
Is that based on numbers or is that based on risk? Or?
I think it's based on the amount of planning that goes into the event for the pre-event days. So it's about about the paperwork that comes in and the planning that comes into a bigger event. I guess the thought process would be around reviewing it once the Big Street is over and seeing exactly what was needed or not needed.
Ethan?
This contractor a person that we used at Christmas. So I know of this person. This person I know is the event manager for Luton Carnival. He also has done several events at Leighton Linslade. I was very happy with the way that the day ran at Christmas, and I feel that some of the issues that we had with the Big Street Eve last year, where I turned up kind of, a couple of hours before the event, and we'd covered up tactile paving, and I just know that none of that's going to happen. I think that our events are growing to the point where actually it's actually needed, and I think what it also does is it takes the pressure off of the officer team on the day, because they've got somebody who just knows how to manage a massive event like that. So I would be proposing that we go with this.
Is this coming out of the budget? Or is this added extra money that we have to find?
Great question.
Because if it's coming out of the budget, then I'll be seconded. Seeing whether, because what I don't want is for our budgets for the events to keep spiralling out of control, considering that we've got an officer team, and it just depends on how much money we're going to be spending just on health and safety. We've been putting these events on for some time now, do you know what I mean, without spending this money. I do absolutely see the point of having a person doing the actual event, but I just don't want it to spiral out of control. Where we're getting, if it's coming out of the budget, that's fine, like all for it. So we have to factor that into the budget when spending money, is what I'm trying to say.
I actually agree with you, Richard. I know that's a bit of a shock.
Oh,
I know. It's shock horror, but I actually agree. So I'm happy for it to be for Big Street and then we get feedback on it, but I am concerned about it being for every event, because that's a lot of money to keep adding on out of our budget, and then we're not really going to have a budget because it'll be just spent on extra workload.
I see the value in having it.
Yeah, especially for the bigger ones.
Is that when we scale back on what we put into our events to accommodate that? Budget's in the budget.
Mouth. Glad you all agreed about putting your phones on silent today. So
I take it we've only gotten one price from one health and safety contractor at the moment. I mean, is it worthwhile doing a costing exercise for 2 or 3 contractors, just sanity check the cost?
Yeah, so I did try and reach out to others. Here on the front page, it says with the relevant power and other legal implications. So in line with the Town Council's financial regulations, the requirement to obtain competitive prices need not apply to contracts that are related to specialist services, such as legal professions or acting in disputes. And I did take advice on this because of the nature of our events being council events and the specific experience that this contractor has. But equally, I can go out again, but I didn't get any responses really, because it's almost like an audit we're asking for. It's quite niche and sort of tailored.
So the background of this person was Luton Carnival used to be run by the council. It got spun out to a cultural services trust. Then it got given to and essentially the council made all these people redundant. This person set up their own business and is supporting events in different places. I personally, you might find other people or other companies that do this, but they don't know the knowledge of the area that we're kind of working in. And so that's the kind of difficulty. And I do think it is a really specialist thing.
I think it's something that can be looked into in a cost matrix in terms of, the value that you're getting for the cost. But I mean, it's more just because, I mean, it's a lot of money, especially if you're using on other events.
It's cheap.
£350 a day, and then what is it, £450 per day for the actual day. I mean, I wouldn't say it's cheap. I mean, it's not extortionate.
For a day contract.
I mean, just to give you an example, we had a grievance investigated by the council. We paid more than that a day for an investigator. So I think it's cheap.
Costing exercise would put that one to rest, basically.
I do think as a council, we need to have people that have got our back. It's as simple as that, because we're not experts.
Okay, so all in favour? Anyone against?
So all in favour of what?
To approve a contract to prevent health and safety, which says at the bottom,
For the big street eat only.
for the big street only.
Yeah.
So all in favour?
As long as it
Yeah,
comes
within
out of
budget,
budget.
it is.
And then we get feedback from there to consider other ones
So
after.
then, yeah, that's fine.
Any sustained?
Against.
Oh, against? Sorry, I've done it backwards, but against, 2 against. Two to defer.
If we're deferring Christmas anyway, we're not talking about it.
And
And then the
3.
ones that
Good. Okay. To note a financial management report. Please again.
Yeah. 2 seconds. So, I've just, a financial report for this, well, until the end of the year, isn't it? So just a couple of things to highlight. The play sessions overspend was due to a price increase. The community iftar overspend was agreed and supported was agreed by committee and supported by the underspend within that cost centre. The free swim underspend was spent on the councillor services. Planting underspend is due to the works on Queensway. Christmas lighting underspend was due to a 4-year extension, so a discounted rate. And that is everything that I would like to highlight. Any questions? Good, because I was only here for a month of.
Was that just for noting?
Yeah.
Noting.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, okay. Weren't they? Anyway, moving on. The last one, to receive and review the work plan for 26-27. Who's doing that one?
Me.
Oh, it doesn't say your name.
Sorry.
Slacking.
So this is something that I did within my previous role. You can say that you don't want it, or if you do want it, it's fine. But it was just, it sort of maps out the year and what to talk about at different committees. It's a live document, it's a working document. We can add things in, take things out, but it just gives some focus and for officers to plan. That was it.
Fine.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Thank you very much.
The only thing I sort of was missing on this was the neighbourhood plan.
Yes. We can put that on. Where do you want it?
Next week.
Okay, yes, let me write a note.
Any other business? Lovely. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
I thought I say that now, shut people mind.